As the heroes make their way back toward the dais, the armory door seals shut behind them with a low hum, locking away the unchosen artifacts. The weight of their choices lingers in the air, but Gil breaks the tension with a sly grin aimed at Dutch.
Guess you still don't trust me enough to team up after what happened in Farron, huh?
Dutch smirks, but doesn't miss a beat. His glowing green eyes twinkle with fondness.
Trust you? After that mess? Let's just say I learned my lesson about letting you speak on my behalf.
The group chuckles, the brief exchange easing some of the tension as they prepare to face whatever dangers await. Yet, beneath the humor, the unspoken question of what these two oddballs are talking about hangs heavy, a reminder of past trials that may yet shape their path forward. The fellowship stands in a loose circle atop the dais, their newly acquired weapons and artifacts gleaming under the soft glow of the chamber's lights. The distant echoes of hurried footsteps and murmured farewells fill the air as the fortress continues its evacuation. Then the sound of deliberate footsteps silences the room. All eyes turn toward one of the staircases as a familiar figure descends. Indigo. Despite measuring barely above 5 feet, Indigo's presence commands attention. She moves with a regal grace, her emerald green robes flowing like liquid silk. At her side, Callum, the arcane guardian, towers protectively. His armored form radiates magic, the faint hum of energy emanating from the glowing runes etched into his plating. Indigo steps forward, her sharp gaze sweeping over the fellowship. There's no sign of the exhaustion that might be expected from someone who so recently bore a child. Instead, her posture is unyielding, her expression a mask of calm authority.
Looks like you're ready. Good, because there's no turning back now.
Her words linger in the air, and for a brief moment, the fellowship feels the full weight of what lies ahead. Callum's voice, steady but tinged with frustration, breaks the silence.
My queen, with all due respect, we cannot entrust this mission to outsiders. They lack the training, the history.
But Indigo raises a hand, and the arcane guardian immediately falls silent. Her eyes, sharp and unyielding, fix on him, her tone brooking no argument.
Enough, Callum. I have made my decision.
The weight of her words seems to press down on the room. Callum's jaw tightens, but he lowers his head in reluctant deference. Indigo turns back to the fellowship, her expression softening slightly, but her voice remains firm.
I trust them, each of them. They will fight harder against Montana than anyone else because they know what's at stake, not just for us, but for everything beyond these walls. They have felt the foreign one's evil in a way that you simply can't comprehend.
Callum looks stunned, his usual confidence shaken by the certainty in her voice. He glances at the gathered group, his gaze lingering on Dutch and Moira, but he says nothing more. Indigo steps closer to the fellowship, her presence filling the space.
You've been chosen not because you were the safest option, but because you were the right one. I believe in you.
Her words hang in the air, a declaration and a challenge all at once. Indigo's gaze hardens as she gestures for Callum to leave.
Go now, Callum. Ensure the others are safely beyond the portal. Once you're clear, I'll seal the fortress.
Callum hesitates for a moment, clearly reluctant to leave her side, but a sharp look from Indigo spurs him into action. With a respectful bow, he turns and descends from the dais, his heavy footsteps echoing through the chamber before fading into silence. Indigo watches until he disappears, then turns back to the fellowship. Her voice is steady, though a hint of sadness lingers beneath her words.
My sanctuary is nearly empty. Those willing to evacuate have already done so. For those who remain, their choice is final. They will stay behind these walls, but their movements will be restricted. None may enter this chamber once it is sealed.
Her gaze settles on each member of the fellowship, resolute yet expectant. She studies them intently as though committing their faces to memory, aware this might be the last time she sees them, and perhaps even among the final sights she will ever behold.
This place is no longer a refuge. It is a battlefield, and you are its last defenders.
The chamber feels smaller, its walls pressing in as the weight of the task ahead settles heavily on their shoulders. Yet Indigo's unwavering confidence grounds them, a steady reminder that they were chosen for this purpose. Stepping back toward the edge of the dais, she raises her hands. Streams of green light flow from her fingertips toward the whirlpool, its restless swirling gradually slowing until it comes to a calm, steady halt. Once the portal is sealed, events unfold rapidly. Terrence steps forward, informing the Queen Mother of the Fellowship's decision to have Sierra join the guard team. Indigo listens carefully, then nods in approval, her expression betraying a hint of relief at their choice. With the matter decided, the 4 members of the strike team set to work without hesitation. Tommy carefully polishes his glowing dagger, his fingers gliding over its intricate designs as if drawing strength from its craftsmanship. Meanwhile, Gil tightens the straps on his shield before, much to the others' surprise, producing a long-handled fishing net. He gives it a few experimental swings through the air, testing its balance with a focus that borders on bizarre, yet deliberate precision. Terrence draws a long, shadowy spear, its blade gleaming with an almost unnatural edge. After meticulously polishing the hilt and inspecting the weapon for imperfections, he moves fluidly into an intricate battle kata. The spear becomes an extension of his body as he weaves it through the air in sweeping arcs and precise thrusts, his movements equal parts grace and lethality. Each step and turn seem practiced, a silent display of skill honed through years of discipline. In stark contrast to the others, the Queen Mother makes no overt preparations. She simply closes her eyes, her expression softening as she turns inward. Though still and silent, there is a palpable shift in the air around her, a quiet gathering of focus and resolve. It is not the sharpening of blades or the testing of weight, but the steadying of spirit, as if she draws strength from some unseen well within herself. When Indigo opens her eyes, the strike team immediately knows. It's showtime. Without a word, they form ranks around her, closing in tight as the air hums with gathering energy. Before the spell begins, Indigo turns to Tyrone, her expression momentarily softening. She reaches into the folds of her robe and retrieves a necklace adorned with a crab-shaped medallion. Pressing it into his palm, she meets his gaze.
Keep this close. It's more than just a trinket. It grants you control over the portal. In its current state, anyone who attempts to pass through will suffer a slow and agonizing death. The Guardians should keep most intruders at bay, but we can't rely on that. Even with the portal sealed, Montana's forces will breach this fortress. I'll need to channel my strength away from the wards to shield the strike team's approach, leaving this place vulnerable. But if you deny the enemy entry, it should buy you at least a little time before the attack begins.
Tyrone nods, slipping the necklace over his head without hesitation. The weight of it feels solid, grounding him as the magic around them begins to swell. With that, Indigo gives a final nod to Gil, Terrence, and Tommy. The 4 join hands and, in an instant, accompanied by a deafening clap of thunder, they vanish. The chamber falls silent, the lingering echoes of the thunder fading into the stillness. Those left behind exchange uneasy glances, each one acutely aware of the absence of the Queen Mother's presence. It's as if a protective veil has been lifted, leaving them exposed and vulnerable. Yet even in the sudden emptiness, the weight of their duty remains, grounding them as they steel themselves for what's to come. This orb must be protected, or all is lost. Less than half an hour after the strike team's departure, the crab medallion around Tyrone's neck begins to vibrate softly. Before he can react, a voice emerges from it, deep, rumbling, and unmistakably familiar. It's the voice of the friendly green giant who had first revealed the portal's location to them. It's calm but urgent.
Tyrone, I hope you're ready. Trouble's coming, and it's coming fast.
The room falls silent as the others turn toward Tyrone, their eyes widening. He grips the medallion tightly, his jaw tightening as the message continues. The crab medallion hums again, and the giant's voice continues, though now tinged with uncertainty.
They're 12, maybe 15 strong, but one of them seems to be fleeing the rest.
The doubt in the giant's voice is unmistakable, and the words hang heavy in the air. Tyrone's grip tightens around the medallion as the others exchange wary glances.
I can't tell if it's a trick or something else, but either way, they're closing in fast.